Okay, now we've configured our API, what we're going to do is go back to our client, and what we're going to do is get a bit of button assistance here, and we're going to use Angular Bootstrap again. And what we're going to use is the buttons inside here. Pretty straightforward, they kind of act like radio buttons, but what they give us is two-way binding between the button and the component, and when we click on any of this, then we can do something. So these use two-way binding, and when we click on a button, we go to update our component, and we can also receive data from our component as well because of the two-way binding. So we need to go and install something. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the import from here, and we'll stick with the recommended ones. Anything, if you're using Angular 8, then you could use this type of import, but we need this one. So I'm just going to copy this into my clipboard, and I'll just close this stuff down, and we'll go across to our shared module. And what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and import the buttons module from NGX Bootstrap buttons, and then we'll go ahead and add this to our import. So we need buttons module, and because it's an Angular Bootstrap component or module, we'll need to use for root. And also importantly, we need to remember to export as well. So we've got another property that we need to add to our user params here. So we'll open up the user params TS file, and what we'll do in here is we'll add a property for order by. Now the default that we set on the server was last active, so we'll also set this by default to last active. And what we need to do then is go to our member list component HTML. And what we're going to do below our existing buttons for the apply filters and reset filters, we'll add our ordering to the right hand side of this. So what we'll do is we'll create a div, and this is going to be a button dash group, and we're going to float this to the right. And what we'll do is we'll add a button, and we'll make it btn.btn-primary, and we'll give it a name equal to order by. Remember, because we're about to use ng model here, we have to give this the name property, and we'll use ng model, so we'll say a-ng model, and we're going to make this user params dot order by, and let's move some stuff down inside here. And inside this button we're going to specify last active, and we need two more things in here. We need the click event, and when we click this, what we're going to do is call load members, and what we also need to specify here is the button radio. And this is what we get from the NGX Bootstrap buttons, and we're going to set this equal to last active. What we also need to do, because we're inside the context of a form, then we need to specify the button type here so that we don't click these when, or we don't submit when we click on these, and we need to make this a type of button. So that's one button, and what I'll do is I'm just going to copy this and paste it below. And for our other one, we'll keep most of the same information, but instead of last active, we're going to set this to created, and we'll display in the button newest members. So these are our two buttons we need, and they're both going to call the load members, and they're both going to update the user params order by and set the value to what we have inside the button radio. That's the way these button groups work, or these button radios from NGX Bootstrap work. So what we should find, if we go back to our browser, we take a look, and we'll click on matches. I would like there to be a bit more space between what we're doing here and doing there. So let's just go back to the browser, and what we'll do is we'll just separate this into its own column. So we'll say div.col, and then we'll take our div with the button group, and we'll put it inside here, and let's see if this has improved things. And sure, that's better. Now they're on the right hand side of the page. So what we also need to do is go to our members service and add the additional parameter so that we send up the order by as another param in our query string. So what we'll do, we'll just copy this line down, and we'll say order by, and we'll say user params.order by. And what we should be able to do now is go test this functionality. So let's head over to the browser. I'm logged in as Lisa, we've got the last active selected by default. If we click on newest members, then, well, we can see a change, not a big change in this case. And these are already in their correct order. And let's click on the second page and click on newest members. And we do see a difference on the second page there. And if we go back to the first, okay, let's check the females and apply filters. And we're on the newest members. Let's click last active. And we see Ruthie was the last active. And because I'm logged in as Lisa, Lisa would be the last active if I was looking at another profile. So let's log in as someone else. And who else do we have to log in as? Let's log in as Bruce. So I'm just going to log out of Lisa's profile. And I'll log back in as Bruce and password. And now Bruce has made a request. Bruce's last active property means he's going to be the most recent active user on the males. And if I click on newest members, then Lisa's still the newest member, but also the last active as well. And if I log out as Bruce and I go back in as Lisa and we log in again, then what we should find is that Bruce is now the last active member inside here. And if we go take a look at his profile, then we can see the last active date has been updated. Although I only created this user today, so it's not much different from that. So what we'll do next is, these dates don't look brilliant. And what we'll do is take a look at how we can format this. And what we'll also do is we'll implement a time ago so we can see a time of when the user was last active rather than this nasty looking big old date string.